I know one guy who doesn't like the fact that Ohio State is in the Final Four. He's Clay Travis, college football writer for Outkick the Coverage and Fox Sports 1. Clay, good morning. Why don't the Ohio State Buckeyes deserve to be in there?
Well, I don't think they deserve to be in there because if you look at the resume of Ohio State and Penn State, I actually agree with you totally on this. I was saying it on my show earlier. Ohio State was in the same position that right now Penn State is in. Imagine this scenario. Ohio State has gone out there. They have won the Big Ten. They have beaten the Penn State Nittany Lions, who are 11-1 head-to-head. And they have won, the everything surrounding it, the division, the conference title, and everything else. Does anyone in their right mind believe that Ohio State would get left out? There's a 0% chance, right? And what's funny is how quickly this thing spirals, right? So if Wisconsin had beaten Penn State, then Ohio State fans would say, well, there's no way that Wisconsin, even though they won the Big Ten, they can't go. And you say, why? And they would say, because we beat them head-to-head. So, it's amazing how anybody can use any rationale that they want to justify a decision, which I think is about brand. And, Dan, this is always a great example. The committee members are going to say, we're unbiased, we treat everybody equally. You know who also says that? Doctors. And you know what drug companies realize they could do to get doctors who are theoretically making every decision for the best of their clients, for the best of their patients, everything else? They realized that if they gave really attractive women drug samples and they showed up at the doctor's office on a regular basis and said, you need to be trying insert drug here, you know what happened? The doctor prescribed that drug infinitely more likely. And if all it takes is an attractive woman, there's a lot of guys out there yeah, no surprise, right? If all it takes is an attractive woman showing up at your office to get a doctor who has been trained in medicine to change the way that he prescribes drugs, do you really think the Ohio State brand is not impacting the way that the people on that committee are voting?
Well, so they're the woman in the Viagra commercial. That's Ohio State, is what you're saying.
100%. Okay. Or the Cialis, bathtub.
But I've said this before, and I was trying to forewarn my audience that this is reality TV. Ohio State is going to get eyeballs, and that's why I think they struggled with Washington. They want to have people who are going to watch these games, go to these games, and it becomes a big event. Whether they want to admit that or not, it has to factor in consciously or subconsciously. You want to see this. There's a reason why Ohio State would, if Ohio State and Alabama win, they'd play for the national championship. They didn't want to mess that up. They didn't want to have Ohio State at 4 playing Alabama in the opening round. These are brands, and that's what we're selling.
100%, Dan, and they got the best of both worlds this way, right? Because They can say, look, we rewarded the conference champ. Clemson has a better resume now than Ohio State, so we flipped the 2 and the 3, which has absolutely no significance. The real significant move, obviously, would have been if you also rewarded Washington, who went out and beat Colorado very soundly and won the Pac-12 championship, but then you would have gotten Ohio State against Alabama in the first round, and frankly, nobody would have watched Washington play Clemson. Everybody would have watched that first-round game, and they would have said, this is for the championship. It's amazing how well it worked out. The fix, I really do feel like the fix was in, and everybody wants to see. And I'm not saying I disagree. I want to see it too. Everybody wants to see Urban Meyer against Nick Saban, Alabama against Ohio State, 2 blue-blooded programs that produce huge amounts of love or hate. And I want to see it too. I just think it's artificial the way we got there.
Talking to Clay Travis, Fox Sports Radio, OutkickTheCoverage.com. But we also, we get to a certain point, we get 4. It took us how long to get to 4, and now everybody wants to go to 8. And I still like the conversation. I like an argument. I want the regular season to mean something. But if you go to, give me the reason why we should want 8.
Okay. I don't. So first of all, I'm vehemently anti-divisions and anti-conference title games. Mm-hmm. I think we play the entire season to know who the best team is in all the major conferences. So what I would do is I would eliminate conference title games. I would take the 5 regular season champs. That is, what happens over the course of an 8 or 9 game season as opposed to one arbitrary game. And I would then have 3 wild cards. And that way, I think the season matters even more because that whoever wins your conference is 100% going to get in, okay? And then also you want to create the best wild card resume that you possibly could to get in as one of the other 3 teams. Ohio State's easily in as one of an 8-team playoff. So is Penn State. And here's what I would do as well, Dan. I would play the first round, all 4 first-round games on the higher-seeded campus game there.
Yeah.
So you get the benefit of home field advantage. The best thing about college environments is not these sterile domes where you play these neutral site games. It's on-campus environments. So you'd end up with a situation where you'd have Alabama hosting a game, where you would have Washington hosting a game, where Ohio State and obviously Clemson would all be hosting games this weekend. And I think it would make the regular season matter even more and be even better. And it would do away with the stupidity of divisions and arbitrary conference championships that are favoring teams that would otherwise not be there, but for the geography of divisions.
So you're an eightist, not a forest.
100% in the eightist category.
All right. Keep stirring it up, Clay. Great to talk to you again, bud.
Always enjoy it. Appreciate that.
Clay Travis, college football writer for OutkickTheCoverage.com and Fox Sports 1.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.